What was once a disposable one-way drone has now evolved into a compact air defense platform capable of threatening helicopters and disrupting interceptor tactics. A $20,000 kamikaze drone has transformed into a microfighter, stalking helicopters and warping the rules of engagement in real time. This is the moment when a drone built for one-way strikes evolves into a platform that can stalk helicopters, bait interceptors, and push enemy pilots into paranoia. That is exactly what Russia triggered in late November 2025, and the battlefield has not been the same since. For months, Ukraine's pilots treated Shaheds as slow, noisy targets. Dangerous to infrastructure? Yes, but harmless to anything flying. Then came the wreckage photos published by Shahed Flash Beskresnov, a Geran 2 lying in a field, its nose smashed, but an R-60 heat-seeking missile still bolted on top like a warning. Hours later, a Wild Hornet Sting interceptor caught one on camera, a Shahed flying not as prey, but as a hunter, carrying a missile built to kill helicopters and low-flying jets. This wasn't a gimmick, it was a doctrine shift. With man-in-the-loop control, or MITL, onboard cameras, and the cellular datalinks Russia began fielding in 2024, operators can now steer, cue, and lock a heat seeker in real time, turning the humble Shahed into a defensive escort for deep strike waves, a flying landmine stalking Mi-8 transports and Mi-24 gunships. Cheap, disposable, and dangerous enough to force Ukrainian pilots into new habits. Fly higher, avoid Shahed corridors, or stay out of the fight entirely. To understand why pilots suddenly change their habits, we need to break down what this hybrid system actually brings into the airspace. The idea of mounting an R-60 missile onto a Shahed 136 looks absurd on paper. This compact Soviet-era heat seeker, 7 feet long and weighing under 100 pounds, was engineered for supersonic fighters like the MiG-21 and MiG-23, not for a plywood-bodied loitering munition cruising at 185 kilometers per hour. Measuring up to 2.09 meters or more in length with a 120 millimeters diameter and a 390 millimeters wingspan, the R-60 remains one of the most compact infrared air-to-air missiles ever fielded. Weighing only 44 to 45 kilograms, it carries an infrared seeker optimized for rear aspect engagement, locking onto the heat signature of helicopter exhausts or low-flying aircraft. When launched from a fighter, the R-60 can reach 8 to 10 kilometers, but from slow platforms like drones, its realistic engagement range narrows to roughly 1 to 3 kilometers. Even so, that distance is more than enough to threaten helicopters in transit, hovering, or operating at low speed inside tactical corridors. And the missile itself is armed with a 3 to 3.5 kilogram blast fragmentation warhead, paired with both a laser proximity fuse and an impact fuse, ensuring detonation either near the target or on direct hit. Russia's 2025 integration turns that mismatch into a tactical advantage by refining the drone far beyond its original 2022 to 2023 configuration. In earlier stages of the war, the Shahed existed as a simple, one-way strike platform with no cameras, no data links, no real-time control. Just GPS guidance, a preset flight path, and a 40-kilogram warhead meant to smash infrastructure. By late 2023, Iran and Russia upgraded the airframe with low-resolution EO cameras and basic MITL control, which allowed course corrections but still offered no real combat flexibility. The 2024 generation took the decisive leap. Russia added cellular network relays and digital data links, enabling stable video transmission over deep strike distances, while reinforcing the nose section to support modular payload rails. This paved the way for the 2025 configuration, the Fighter Shahed, which finally introduced a proper launch pylon, a single standardized missile rail, improved electrical routing for weapons interfacing, and a software update allowing operators to slave the drone's nose toward potential heat signatures. Yet, technical limitations remain unchanged and unavoidable. Although the Shahed is still a bit slow, still minimally maneuverable. and the R-60 retains its Soviet-era bias toward rear aspect engagements, meaning fast jets remain outside practical kill envelopes. Stability after missile release remains a question, given the drone's nose-heavy profile and the sudden loss of a 40 to 45 kilogram external load. But to understand why Russia is willing to deploy them in swarms, we have to look at the economic side. Early Iranian-supplied Shahed 136 drones cost Russia between $193,000 and $290,000 per unit in the 2022 to 2023 bulk packages, figures that included technology transfer and large volume procurement, according to leaked IRGC documents. Meanwhile, Western component analyses estimated real production costs at $20,000 to $50,000, driven largely by the $12,000 to $17,000 MD-550 engine. When Russia shifted to domestic manufacturing at the Alabuga facility, initial projections hovered around $48,800 per unit, but sanctions, localization challenges, and incremental hardening pushed the price to roughly $80,000 by April 2024. The new R-60 equipped variants likely add an additional $10,000 to $50,000, depending on missile condition and integration work drawn from Soviet stockpiles, placing their total cost in the likely $50,000 to $80,000 range. Even at the high end, these figures remain orders of magnitude below manned attack helicopters such as the Ka-52, which run $15 to $20 million apiece. Allowing Russia to treat the R-60 Shahed as an expendable missile truck and deploy it in swarms that soak up enemy air defenses while imposing disproportionate psychological and tactical pressure on Ukrainian pilots. Ukraine, meanwhile, leans into electronic warfare and sacrificial FPV interceptors. But the threat doesn't stay in Ukraine. Cheap drones armed with cheap heat seekers form a blueprint that any state or non-state group could adopt. If a $20,000 drone can scare off a $20 million helicopter, air warfare is entering a new age. So that's for today's episode. Until then, thanks for watching.